All good. That should show us as online now. There's a little bit of a time lapse delay there. Hello there, and welcome to this week's edition of Tea Time with Josh. Okay, how are we doing, guys? Hope you're all well. We're going to leave it for a minute or so just to allow people the time to tune in and log on. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time when you're doing a live stream for people to register that you're online, get the notification through, and sign in. So we're going to leave it for a minute or so before we're going to get into the content. We're going to be holding a little bit of time today for some question and answer. So what I'd like you to do, if you've got any questions at any point, anything that we're saying you want clarifying, any questions regarding health, fitness, mindset, nutrition, whatever it may be, then post them in the comments section and we'll go through at the end and we'll answer some of those questions. What we need to do, I'm just going to share this onto my page to get some engagement. Okay. Rob, can you share that in the TF group? Okay, guys, so what we're going to be going through today is how to tone up. And this is a bit of a generic term. You hear a lot of people saying, oh, I want to tone up. And some of the things that they're doing to tone up aren't the right things. So what we want to do today is clarify exactly what toning up is. And we're going to give you 4 steps to getting to where you need to be to tone up the body and get those results that you've been looking for. We're going to cut through the bullshit and we're going to tell you exactly what works, not what people want you to believe to sell magazine copies every single week, okay? So first of all, we're going to explain what toning up is. The number 1 thing is to eat some more protein. Number 2 is to weight train 2 to 3 times per week using full body workouts. Number 3 is use compound exercises. And number 4 is include progressional overload into your training program. And we're going to break each of those sections down and go into them in a lot more detail as we go along throughout the video. Now, to those of you that are viewing already, is the hearing okay? Can you hear us okay? If you can hear us, can you please put a comment in the comment section just to let us know that the audio is working okay? Last thing we want is to be doing this video and nobody hearing it. So if you can hear us right now, put a comment in the comment section below. That would be great. So first of all, let me explain what toning up is. And I'm going to be a bit counterintuitive here and play devil's advocate and tell you that there is no such thing as toning up. Okay? There is only losing body fat and building muscle mass. So let's establish that first of all. Toning up means losing body fat and building muscle mass. Losing body fat to reveal the muscle mass that is there and building the muscle mass up to make it more apparent and look more defined. So that's what toning up is, okay? And one of the first and most easiest things that you can do to start toning up is to eat some protein, okay? Now, government guidelines are going to tell you to eat between 40 and 70 grams per day, I think it is. That's BS, guys. Don't listen to that. For general population people who are healthy, the standard or the norm, what you should be intaking when it comes to looking at toning up is anywhere between 1.5 grams of protein per kilo of body weight and 2.5 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. Right? So if you're a 50 kg female, then you should be eating anywhere between 75 grams of protein and 125 grams of protein on a daily basis. I'm not a mathematician, so you'll have to let me. Is that right?
Yeah.
You'll know, won't you, Rob? Yeah.
That's James. He wants a maths question.
Oh yeah, true. There you go. There's your maths equation done for today, James. Okay, so eat some protein between 1.5 grams and 2.5 grams per kilogram of body weight. Okay. The second thing that you need to be doing is incorporating weight training, more specifically strength training. Okay, and we're going to be asking you to do that in the approach of full body workouts. Weight training is great. It builds muscle mass and helps you lose body fat. That's what toning is, okay? And if you're using weights on a regular basis between 2 and 3 times per week, then you're going to start building up the definition in the muscles. You're going to start burning calories. Your metabolism is going to be elevated, which means that you burn more calories. And I think it's like between 24 and 48 hours after you work out, your metabolism is elevated if you choose to do a weight session. Whereas if you run for an hour, yeah, you might burn calories within that hour, but you won't actually burn any more calories after the training session. And that's what we're looking for. When you're looking at toning up, you want to be boosting your metabolism up at the same time. So using weight training 2 to 3 times per week and hitting full body workouts. Now, the reason why I say full body workouts is because if you're taking a typical approach to weight training, most people train their body part once per week. So they might do their legs on a Monday, chest on a Tuesday, rest on a Wednesday, shoulders Thursday, and back on Friday. That would be a typical split. But the problem that you have with that is you're having to wait a full 7 days before you can hit those muscles again. And let me remind you, when you're looking to tone up, what you want to be doing is building muscle mass. Let's establish that and make that clear right away, because a lot of people get afraid when we say build muscle mass, but essentially that's what toning up is, okay? So what makes sense more than waiting a week to hit the muscle group again is to wait until you've recovered, which should take between 24 and 36 hours, depending on multiple factors, including your diet, genetics, age, gender, multiple other things. And it makes sense to be hitting a workout 24 to 36 hours again on that same muscle group that you hit previously to keep it stimulated, to keep muscle protein synthesis high within the muscle, and to ensure that you're toning that muscle up regularly. Let me know if I'm getting too scientific on you here, guys. I'm trying to simplify it down so you can understand. And again, if there's any questions that pop to mind throughout this live stream, please comment them below and we'll get them answered at the end. So again, guys, what you want to be doing, you could do something simple. And this is the next step. Number 3 is to use compound exercises when you're using strength training and weight training in your program. The reason why we're saying compound exercises over isolation exercises is because they burn more calories and they recruit more muscle fibers within the body. Now, where a lot of people go wrong with their exercise and when they're trying to tone up is they'll go on the cross trainer for 15-20 minutes. They'll do some cardio. Then they might do some sit-ups, some crunches. Then they might do some bicep curls, and then they might do 10 minutes on a cross trainer. They spent an hour in the gym. They might have burned some calories, but what have you hit? You've hit your abdominal muscles and you've hit your biceps. You've not really hit much. You could spend that hour, but you could be more productive with that by choosing compound exercises. And what a compound exercise is an exercise which uses 2 or more joints in one movement. So for example, a bicep curl, which uses just the elbow, is an isolation move because it uses one joint. Whereas an exercise such as a squat, like this, there we go, live workout, is a compound exercise because it uses more joints, right? So using compound movements stimulates more muscles at the same time, so you're getting more bang for your buck. You're going to burn more calories doing 15 minutes of squatting than you are 15 minutes of bicep curls. It's going to burn more calories. It's going to create a better stimulus on the body and the central nervous system, which is going to increase the metabolic rate and make us burn more calories. We've got somebody who correct matches. Sorry, Bilal, you'll have to rephrase that question because we're not quite sure how to interpret that. So just put that in again, try and reword it for us and we'll get that answered for you now. And compound exercises include squats, deadlifts, bench presses, rows, all these types of things which are typically done with a barbell or machines. And a typical exercise session may look like this. It may be you start off with a squat, you then move into a barbell row. You then move into a chest press. And what that will do, you've pretty much hit the whole body within 45 minutes if you spend 15 minutes on each. Whereas, and you would do that again 2 days later, and then again 2 days after that. And you've already hit your whole body 3 times per week, 3 times in a week, as opposed to doing a typical split and hitting it once per week. So that's very, very key to remember. Use compound exercises. Isolation exercises are okay, but if you're really looking to tone up, strip the fat away and tone up the muscles and look more defined and look more lean, then using compound exercises is just a much more efficient way of doing it and you get a lot more bang for your buck. The 4th and final step to toning up is to use a principle called progressional overload. And what progressional overload is a principle where you will increase the load that you're lifting every single week. So on day one, like I mentioned previously, it may be a squat, a barbell row, and a bench press. Say you're doing 10 kg on each of those exercises, just for argument's sake. Progressional overload principle states that next week when we come into the gym, we have to do a little bit more. So if you've done 10 kg on each exercise, a better choice this week would be to do 12.5 kg on each exercise. Or if you did 10 kg for 10 reps, next week you must be prepared to do 1 to 2 more reps if you're looking to tone up. And again, this is where people go wrong when they're trying to achieve their body transformation goals. They'll get to a certain weight. They might say, okay, I want to lift the 20 kilo dumbbells because that's going to tone my arms up, or, you know, whatever. That's great, and it will become toned up into a certain point. But if you just keep lifting the 20 kilo dumbbells, you're not going to get any more results after that, after your body's adapted. So it's of vital importance, if you're looking to tone up and define the muscles, to increase the amount of weight or the amount of reps that you're doing each week. Now, I've got a couple of questions that have come in here. Jake Moore, great question. Jake Moore says, how many compound exercises would you recommend in one session? Now, this is something which is going to vary massively from person to person, okay? Some people might only be able to handle 2 exercises, others may be able to handle 5, and it depends on the amount of sets or the amount of reps that you're doing. A typical approach that I would take personally is I would try and use between 3 and 5 compound exercises in one session. What I would do though to ensure that my central nervous system doesn't become too overloaded with stress is I would vary the rep ranges. So the first 2 exercises, so let's go back to the example of squat, barbell row and bench press. I'd do 3 working sets on each of those exercises. On the squat to start off with, I may do 3 sets of anywhere between 3 and 6 reps. On the next exercise, barbell rows, I might choose to do 3 working sets of 10 to 12 reps. On the third exercise, bench press, I may choose to do 3 working sets of 6 to 10 reps. So I'm varying up the rep ranges. If you do 3 exercises all between the rep ranges of say 3 and 6, you're going to feel a lot more stressed, a lot more tired, a lot more fatigued than you would do if you vary the rep ranges. So it's going to be very person dependent, and I'm sorry that I can't give you a more specific answer because I don't know what your body type is, I don't know what your previous training experience is, but what I would say to you, Jake, is especially if you're going to be using the 4th principle, which is progressional overload, then it's very important which you start off when you're designing your program, you start off with a number of compound exercises which is manageable. The first week or 2, week 1 to 3 in your program, you shouldn't be feeling absolutely trashed by it. You should be breaking yourself in slowly, and as the reps, as you increase the number of reps or increase the amount of weight every single week, it's going to get progressively harder. So I would start off for yourself with maybe 3 compound exercises. If that's okay, next week, then maybe you could add in another compound exercise. But what you've got to remember is not to forget about the progressional overload principle, where you need to be ensuring that you're adding repetitions to what you're doing or adding the weight to what you're doing. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, comment up below. If you want me to elaborate a little bit more, you know, I'm happy to do that for you. But I hope that makes sense. Can we get a little bit more clarification? Bill L. How the fixed matches or correct matches football. Bill L, I'm sorry, if you want that question answered, then it'd be great if you could reword that for us. That would be fantastic. Have you got anything that you'd like to add into this, Rob?
Yeah, other than what Jake's question is just progressive overload. I mean, slowly but surely increase the weights, increase the sets, increase the amount of exercises. You don't want to jump too deep into it, doing too many sets and too many reps, otherwise your body would just crash really, and you won't then progress. Man,
you'll get 4 weeks into your program and you'll just be annihilated and you're not going to progress anymore, you're not going to get any more results. So the last thing that you want to do is start off a program where you can't finish, essentially. Another thing that I wanted to clarify as well is, and this is for the girls that are tuning in, if you want to tone up, and this isn't all girls, and we'll say, but from the people which we speak to on a weekly, daily, monthly basis, a lot of the girls who are trying to tone up are doing too much cardio to tone up. And the thing about cardio is, depending on how you structure it, if you're doing long steady state cardio, i.e. running on a treadmill for 30 to 60 minutes, then what you're actually doing is you're promoting catabolic hormones within your body which break muscle tissue down because they're using it for energy whilst you're running. And if you want to get toned, then you really want to be staying clear of cardio as much as possible. If you're going to be doing cardio, we'd recommend using a principle called HIIT training, which stands for high intensity interval training. This allows you to get your cardio workouts in and work your cardiovascular system with a minimal amount of time, roughly 5 to 15 minutes depending on your fitness levels. The thing about HIIT training is it doesn't stimulate the production of those catabolic hormones which long steady state cardio is. So in layman's terms, it will make your body more anabolic, which is a prime environment for building muscle and losing body fat, which is what toning is. Let me remind you that a lot of people get confused. They believe that toning up just requires weight loss. They're two completely separate things. If you want to lose weight, that's great. That's fine. But if you want to tone up, completely different things. We've got another question coming from Amy. Oh, hello Amy, how you doing? I do mostly weights. Would it work better? So Amy said, I do mostly weights. Would it work better if I do a fast walk on the treadmill, incline on max 15 for 10 minutes? If you can do a fast walk on the treadmill, incline on the what's maximum 15? Is that the intensity? Is that how fast it's going round? I think it is, but that's how steep the incline is. Okay, cool. Just bear with me. Yeah. Don't worry, Amy, we've heard you. So yeah, would it work better if I do a fast walk on the treadmill incline on max 15 for 10 minutes? Yeah, as a warm up, that's great. It depends what your goal is. I know we may have spoke previously about toning up, I think, over Facebook Messenger, I think, before. But if your goal is to tone up, which it is for most girls, then I would try and recommend doing as little cardio as possible. If you're doing 10 minutes on the treadmill just to get your body warmed up before you move into your weight session, then that's fine. I would try and limit that maybe to 5 minutes just to get yourself warmed up. But if you enjoy doing it, then hey, that's absolutely fine. As long as you're abiding by the principles which we've explained earlier on in the video, and I'm not sure whether you tuned in for that, that is to eat more protein, to weight train 2 to 3 times per week doing full body workouts, to use compound movements such as the squats, deadlifts, bench presses, barbell rows, and to include progressional overload. If you're doing all those 4 factors, doing 10 minutes of walking before your workouts is not going to do you any detriment. That's absolutely fine. Like I said, I would just limit that, and I wouldn't. If you're really trying to tone up, then I'd recommend trying to do as much weights as possible and as little cardio as possible. And if you are looking at doing cardio and doing a cardio workout, a better approach to take would be to set the treadmill onto a slight incline and put it on a high intensity speed and do 15 seconds of sprinting. Okay, then slow that speed right back down and walk really slowly for 45 seconds to a minute and a half just whilst you recover, and then do that again, sprint for 15 seconds, and then repeat that 5 or 6 times. That's a workout in itself, and that's going to be really good for boosting your metabolism, which is going to make you burn more calories, and that's not going to inhibit anything that you're doing with your weight training, i.e. it's not going to promote catabolic hormones, and it's not going to stimulate the breakdown of muscle tissue as normal cardio would do. If that's okay, let me know. If you want any further clarification, then just comment again. Okay, Jake, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I did a 6-week program. I varied the rep range, but also tried to max out on all the sets, as in weight-wise. Yeah, that's great. I wouldn't vary the rep range on, say if you're doing, say for example, your first exercise is a squat, and you're doing 3 sets of 3 to 6 reps. Don't go out of that rep range for 8 weeks. I would try and stay within that rep range, and say you're doing 100 kilo on the squat in doing 3 reps. I would take that 3 rep up to a 6 rep over 2 or 3 weeks, and then I would put the weight up to like maybe 105. And then you might do 3 reps on 105 and bring that up to 6 reps in a set over the course of another 3 weeks. and that's gonna promise you great results. I mean, I was trying to build muscle for years, right? I've been training since, you know, I was 18, so about 5-6 years ago now. And for the first few years, I did not have a clue what I was doing, right? I did not have a clue. I was trying all these magazine workouts like you see, just to try and get toned and lean and bigger. And a lot of it's all bullshit, all right? I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to bullshit you guys. A lot of what they're selling these magazines on men's health, whatever else they're selling in the girls' ones as well, it's all BS. They've got to sell another magazine each week. So, of course, they're not going to write the same thing. That's not sexy, that's boring, right? Nobody's gonna buy it. So they need to glam it up with all these supersets and amazing drop sets and brand new fat blasting arm workout, get shredded arms in 6 weeks. It's not the case, right? Progressional overload is the key principle, and anybody who tells you any different from that when it comes to a toning perspective is full of shit, okay?
Another thing on that, I wouldn't try and max out every single set. I won't go 100% every single set, otherwise you'll just tire yourself out, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of different standpoints to take on that. It depends on you as an individual. If you're new to training, then I wouldn't recommend that either. But if you're experienced in the gym and you've got a spotter with you, then what you can do is, you know, you can afford to push it that little bit more and maybe try and take 1 to 2 of those sets to failure. If that's okay and you don't feel trashed and you're getting stronger every week, a really, really, really reliable marker of knowing whether you're overtraining too much, Jake, is if you stop getting stronger. Now, if you're eating enough calories and you're not getting stronger, what that tells us is you're not recovering right, and you might be doing too much in the gym and you might be pushing yourself a little bit too far. So scale the weights back a little bit. You can drop the number of sets that you're doing, and whatever it takes to ensure that you're following that progressional overload principle, i.e. increasing the number of reps or the number of weight or the amount of weight that you're doing each week, that's what we want to be going for. If you're following that principle, then you're going to tone up, okay? Found it hard to put mass on, but still kept under 6% body fat and put on 6 Oz. 6 ounces, what's that, like 200 grams?
I have no idea.
Okay. Okay, great. Thanks, Jake. Sam Lewitt, he's popped up again. Shredded arms in 6 weeks, sounds quite decent. Well, Sam, come in, we'll get you on the 6-week transformation program and we'll transform those arms for you, mate. Guys, before we log off, and I'm sorry, Scott, if you're listening, I'm sorry if this conflicts with Emmerdale or Coronation Street or whatever else you're watching. We're so sorry about that. But a better thing to do than sitting there and watching £6, that's what. A better thing to do than sitting there watching Emmerdale or Coronation Street is to tune in and listen to the boys at TF drop some knowledge bombs. Guys, before we log off, is there any more questions that you want answering? I'm going to leave you for another minute or so, just to drop in with some comments, leave us some feedback. If you've got anything else that you want answering before we come back again next week, then let us know in the comments below, and we'll give you another minute or so to do that. Guys, if you found this useful, then drop us a comment, or if you're feeling really naughty, you can even drop us a share. That'd be great. What we're trying to do is try and get that message out there. We're trying to educate more people. The problem with the fitness industry and the problem with the personal training industry is there's so many bullshitters out there, guys. There's so many people who are blagging it, who haven't got any real results themselves, and giving out false information and doing their clients a disservice by some of the stuff that they're putting out there. So what we want to do is tune in every single week, get this information out there. We're noticing that more and more people are engaging with video content now, so it makes sense for us to be putting our message out there. And if this is relevant to you, then send me an email, info@transformationfit.co.uk. You can send me a private personal message on Facebook. We'll welcome your feedback, and if you've got any questions or any ideas on topics which you'd like covering in this weekly tea time with Josh, which we're going to be doing, then we really appreciate that. And you know, we're doing this for you, so if there's anything that you want answering, any topics which you like covering, then please leave us a comment. Have you got any closing comments, Rob?
No,
anything we've discussed?
To be honest, yeah, progressive overload is the key.
Definitely the key.
Muscle gain and strength gains.
If there's one thing that you will take away from this, and we'll recap, we'll give you some bullet points at the end, but the main thing and the most important thing is progressional overload. You know, do a little bit more research into that. Ask us some more questions about that if you want some further clarification. And, you know, that's the key thing. If you're getting stronger, then you're going to be getting more toned. You just need to alter your diet to make sure that you're chipping the fat away as well. So just to recap, if you want to tone up, you need to eat some protein. You need to be eating between 1.5 and 2.5 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. You need to be weight training 2 to 3 times per week, preferably using full body workouts. You need to be using compound exercises such as squats, deadlifts, bench presses, rows, overhead presses, things that use 2 or more joints in one movement. And you need to be using progressional overload in your workouts, ensuring that you're getting stronger by increasing the rep range or increasing the amount of weight that you're using each and every single week. And girls, it's exactly the same for you as well. You're not going to blow up and become bulky overnight. I tell this to so many girls, and I don't think it's as much as a taboo subject anymore now. Girls are realizing that, you know, weight training is actually good for them, and makes them healthy, makes them lean, makes them fit and strong. But, you know, I'm going to keep banging on about it until everybody knows. Weight training's the key, progressional overload's the key. We'll catch you next week, guys. We're going to be tuning in again at the same time, around about 7 to 7:30, depending on the feedback that we get from people. We've also got a seminar coming up next week at our studio on Bath Lane in Leicester. It's absolutely free workshop for you guys to come down. You can educate yourselves a little bit more. The topic on that is going to be an elaboration on our live stream last week titled How to Burn Body Fat and Keep It Off. Everybody knows how to lose weight and burn fat. You know, we're not denying that. What a lot of people don't know how to do is keep it off for the long term. So if you're interested in learning more about that, comment below, send me a message. We can give you the details on that workshop and send you a link to book your tickets for that. It's absolutely free, and we'd love to see you down there. But until next week, guys, hope you have a fantastic week. Hope you keep smashing your goals, and we'll catch you next week. Take care, guys.
Thank you.